Hello, my beautiful friends, and welcome back to the Smile Code, where we explore what it truly means to live well, love deeply, and smile from the inside out. This is your host, Dr. Esi Quaidoo. Today's conversation is about marriage, bonding, and love in modern times. It may feel a little tender, maybe even a bit uncomfortable for some, but I invite you into curiosity rather than defensiveness. This is not an anti-marriage episode. It's a pro-conscious love episode. And as always, we'll anchor everything in the Smile Code, which is love God, love yourself, love your neighbor. Let me start with a simple question. Have you ever paused to ask yourself where the idea of marriage actually came from? We often assume marriage is natural, almost biological. But when you look closely, something interesting shows up. Bonding is natural. Marriage is man-made. Animals in the wild don't get married, yet social bonding is everywhere. They pair, they protect, they cooperate, they raise their young together. No ceremonies, no contracts, no shame if a bond changes or ends. So that makes me wonder, and maybe you too, what did humans add? And why? Love God, what nature reveals. When I think about loving God, I think about honoring truth, about respecting life as it actually unfolds, not how we think it should. Nature is a very honest teacher. In the animal kingdom, we see pair bonding, shared responsibility, loyalty for as long as it serves life, separation without moral failure. There's no condemnation, no punishment, no identity collapse. So here's a question for you. Do you believe God values the form of a relationship or the fruit it produces? Peace, care, growth, life. Because if creation itself models bonding without coercion, maybe humans were meant to add consciousness to love, not rigidity. Now, let's talk history for a moment. Marriage didn't begin as a romantic ideal. It began as a solution. As humans settled into agricultural societies, we suddenly had property, inheritance, lineage, power structures. Marriage became a contract. Later, religion sanctified it to stabilize society. Marriage wasn't invented to make us happy. It was invented to make societies orderly. And structure isn't wrong. But here's the tension. We are no longer living under the same conditions that created traditional marriage. So the real question becomes, what happens when consciousness evolves, but institutions don't? Love yourself. Know thyself before you bind thyself. This is where the Smile Code gets deeply personal. To love yourself means know thyself, be yourself, live your purpose. And I say this gently, without judgment. If we don't know who we are, we may use marriage to avoid that work. Historically, marriage assumed fixed identities, fixed roles, shorter lifespans. Modern humans, we reinvent ourselves multiple times. We live longer. We seek alignment, purpose, meaning. Yet we're still using a relational model that assumes we'll be the same person for 50 or 60 years. So let me ask you, honestly and compassionately, am I asking my relationship to support my becoming or to protect me from change? Animals don't ask their partners to complete their identity. Humans often do. That's a heavy load for love to carry. The divorce reality, a design question, not a moral one. And maybe this is why, despite our best intentions, we see such high rates of divorce in modern society. Not because people are failing, but because the structure is. We're asking a single institution to hold love, passion, friendship, parenting, finances, identity, purpose, and personal evolution, often for decades, without meaningful moments to pause, reflect, and renegotiate. That's not a moral problem. That's a design problem. And here's something I find deeply interesting. What if divorce isn't evidence that people don't value commitment, but evidence that we've designed commitment without flexibility? In nature, when bonds no longer serve life, they shift, without shame, without warfare, without destruction. Humans, however, often wait until things break, and then we fight. Emotionally, financially, spiritually. So imagine this instead. What if marriage were approached as a renewable commitment? A conscious agreement revisited at intentional intervals, not as an escape clause, but as a peace-preserving practice. A moment to ask, are we still aligned? Are we still growing? Are we still choosing each other consciously? That kind of structure doesn't weaken marriage. It may actually strengthen it. Because people stay not out of fear, but out of choice. And peace, personal and societal, tends to grow wherever choice replaces coercion. Love your neighbor, from ownership to stewardship. Which brings us to loving our neighbor. Traditional marriage leaned heavily on ownership. Modern love invites stewardship. Ownership says, "You belong to me." Stewardship says, "I choose to walk with you." To love your neighbor in modern times may look like honoring autonomy, allowing growth, releasing control, choosing honesty over appearance. It may also mean redefining fidelity, not just as exclusivity, but as integrity, emotional truth, care, and respect for consciously chosen agreements. So here's a brave question. Do our relationship structures encourage love or enforce fear? Adapting marriage within the Smile Code. So how do we adapt marriage without discarding it? Through conscious design. That might look like viewing marriage as a living agreement, not a life sentence. Creating intentional renewal moments. Separating legal partnership from emotional expectations. Allowing growth without shame. Centering flourishing over endurance. Within the Smile Code, this becomes clear. Love God. Honor truth, life, and what genuinely supports well-being. Love yourself. Stay aligned with who you are becoming, not who you were afraid to outgrow. Love your neighbor. Choose compassion over control, presence over possession. Marriage doesn't need to disappear, but it does need to evolve. Let me leave you with this. A relationship that requires self-betrayal is not sacred. It's outdated. And whether you are married, single, divorced, discerning, or redefining, this conversation is not about judgment. It's about alignment. So ask yourself, gently, does my understanding of love feel expansive or constricting? And does my life, my relationships, help me smile from the inside out? Until next time, my friends, live consciously, love bravely, and keep following the Smile Code. See you soon.